Paul, I know, is ready to go. And Paul, don't worry about the time. We're pretty flexible on lunch. So you just take whatever time you need. I've got you scheduled for half an hour. If you're a little short or a little more, that's not a big issue. So Paul Stella, of course, is with Toyota. He's been a speaker at CCIF. He's been very involved in the collision industry for a number of years. I'm going to turn it over to Paul to take it from here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. Can you guys see my screen okay?
You bet.
All right, let's see if I can make the slideshow work here. Okay, you should see on screen the slideshow. Is it full screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, cool. And you can hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, cool, good. Well, first of all, my name is Paul Stella. I'm the manager for collision repair and refinish. And Tom, thanks for those kind words on the introduction. Big thanks to you, Tom, and the rest of the team at SARS for allowing me to come out and talk to you. You know, it's a tough act to follow Gary, right? So next time, put me in front of Gary, because that's a tough act to follow. So, and also, too, it's tough. I'm right before lunch, too. So, you know, I'm in the hot seat here. So, again, thanks for allowing me to come out. My contact information is on the screen there. And if any of the members in Saskatchewan or whoever's on the call wants to reach out and call me, email me, feel free to do so anytime. So at Toyota, my main responsibility is in the collision side of things. I'm responsible for the Certified Collision Repair Program. And you've heard Leanne speak earlier, you know, about the Certified Collision Care. We've obviously partnered with Certified Collision Care, and we're extremely happy with what Leanne is providing for us. If you're interested in, you know, the requirements for Toyota, you can certainly go to Leanne's website at Certified Collision Care and link to our site. Or we have a couple of unique sites, gettoyotacertified.ca or getlexuscertified.ca. And in there, you'll see all the different requirements to be part of our program. And as Leanne mentioned, there is a sponsorship required from a local dealer. So I'm not really going to get into the certification process too much. You know, Gary touched on it and Leanne touched on it, but I'm just going to kind of walk you around the Toyota Lexus brand, what we have from a technology standpoint, what's new, you know, what's coming in the future, and some of the stuff you might have seen already. But I need to quote my good friend, Mike Anderson. I know Mike has been and spoke to you guys in the past, and he's just a wealth of information. 4 or 5 years ago, it might have been 6 years ago, at the NACE conference in Anaheim, California, Mike was on stage and made a comment that I thought was just really, really good, and I've used it many times. That's we got to learn to research and research to learn. And you can see on screen, you know, I've got a couple of images there of the repair manuals. There's a technician using our scan tool to scan the vehicle. And obviously the image on the right-hand side is one of our Lexus cars with all those sensors and radars that need calibration or initialization, whatever it may be in the repair process. So let's go back to 1997. Toyota came out with a funky little car called the Prius Hybrid. If everyone remembers, a kind of funky looking little car. I said funky, you know, a little small 4-door hatchback. And that was the first introduction of a hybrid to the Toyota family. Fast forward to today, you can see the images on screen for the Toyota family. Those are hybrid vehicles that you see with the star below them. And there's 3 of them. That's the 2021 Venza, the Prius, and up in the top right-hand corner is the 2021 Sienna. Those vehicles only come with a hybrid technology. You know, the rest of the cars that you see on screen, their sister car has the gas engine equivalent, but in this case, those particular models are only the gas hybrid technology. Below that is the Lexus models that are, you know, available in a hybrid. And if we can go back up to the Toyota side, the Prius Prime, those are the letters in blue, and the RAV4 Prime are the extended plug-in versions of a hybrid. So back here in Ontario, one of our dealerships in Stouffville, there's a technician that works there. He has a Prius Prime. He lives, I think, 42 kilometers from the shop. He'll charge his car at home late at night on the cheaper electricity, drive into work on full electric, get to the dealership, use the dealership's charging station, charge his car, and go back home. I think he's got roughly about 20,000 kilometers on the car, and he's put 2 tanks of gas through the car. So you can see, you know, the mileage that he's getting there. The reason I want to share the information about hybrids is that you know, depending on the nature of the accident or the repairs being made, there are some precautions needed, you know, working around a hybrid system, and that is deactivating the actual hybrid system. And we just don't want you going in there and there's an orange plug that you pull out. There are some precautions that you need to have, whether it's wearing special gloves, and follow that procedure. So let you know, hybrids, we've got a lot of them, and you've probably seen them in your shop. Gary touched on, you know, some of the advanced materials, and you know, the German manufacturers are probably much further ahead than we are as Toyota and Lexus as far as advanced materials. But I can tell you that we have those technologies as well today, whether it's aluminum and carbon fiber. And let's see here. So this is our Lexus LS. This is our flagship car on the Lexus side, and you can see all those silver panels are aluminum. We also have cast aluminum strut towers on the front and the rear. And all that blue steel you see is a high-strength steel. That's, you know, we want to keep the occupant safe in the event of an accident. So that's on our Lexus car. Another vehicle in the Lexus lineup, you know, we've got a little bit of more mixed materials. Again, all the silver body panels, that's aluminum. The hatch in the car, though, is carbon fiber sandwiched between aluminum. So just to share that, you know, this technology is here today. Oh, my screen's freezing a little bit. There we go. So this is our most popular vehicle that we sell on the Toyota Lexus lineup, our Toyota RAV4. It's a current generation. And actually, last year, this was the best-selling vehicle in Canada that was not a pickup truck. All right. So this vehicle, you can see the schematic's a little bit different on the left-hand side. Anywhere you see green, so the green hood, green fender, green hatch, that's all aluminum. And then pay attention to the red pieces, you know, up along the windshield pillar, the B pillar. That's a high-strength steel that Gary was talking about. So 1500, right? Even when you go to drill this stuff, you'll probably burn out your drill bits, or you know, to pull out the welds in that car. On the underside, you can see there's still that high-strength steel in the construction of the vehicle. So I did a little research on our model lineup. All these vehicles that you see on screen have one or more panels that are aluminum. And, you know, Gary mentioned, he gave it a good example with the X3, where, you know, if a technician is grinding away on a fender and he goes into the next panel that's steel, well, now you just got, you know, cross-contamination and some bad things happen. So all those vehicles that you see on screen have some aluminum components, whether it's a hood, the fenders, the doors. You know, you'd have to look at each schematic for that particular car. On the Lexus side, no difference. Almost all of our cars have some of those, you know, aluminum components, like I shared earlier. We also have some aluminum structure. So it's no secret to anyone, our Toyota Supra, you know, shares technologies with our friends at BMW. It's a joint venture, and the body structure is pretty much a BMW Z4. And if you look at the image, that's a very similar image to what Gary was showing. The green part is, you know, Gary alluded to, is the aluminum part of the vehicle. The pink is obviously the high-strength steel to keep that cabin intact. And in the picture there, you know, there's some fixture benches. So the next image I want to show, oh, my computer's freezing. This is actually taken in our technical training center in Plano, Texas. That's a body in white. If you look at the front of the vehicle, you can see the aluminum components. That's the rails and the strut towers. The fender, the door, the hood, and the hatch are all aluminum. And it's on a fixture bench. So this particular car, depending on the repairs that are needed, it will need to go on a fixture bench. Other vehicles with cast aluminum structures, you know, I mentioned earlier our Lexus LS, we have cast structures for the strut towers up in the front and the rear. Our Lexus Coupe is also got cast strut towers. Can everyone still hear me okay? I just got a warning on my screen that the connection was not that good. Is it still okay, Tom?
Me? Yeah, no, you're going good here. It looks great.
Yeah, okay, good. So, yeah, sorry about that. Thank you for that. On the carbon fiber side, you know, we don't have a vehicle like Gary showed where, you know, the body structure itself is made of carbon fiber, but we do have carbon fiber in our vehicle. So the Prius Prime, the hatch in that particular car, is made out of carbon fiber sandwiched between aluminum. Same with the Lexus UX, that's the hatch on that particular vehicle. But on the right-hand side, a couple of our performance cars on the Lexus side, we have a carbon fiber roof and spoiler on the Lexus RCF. And on our flagship luxury sports car, the Lexus LC has a carbon fiber roof. And yeah, it's cosmetic, but as Gary alluded to, it's also part of the structure of the car. And we do have specific repair procedures on how to change that out, or even if there's a slight repair to it. It's not really repairable too much, but there are some circumstances where you can do that. Switch gears a little bit now. I want to talk about a Toyota Safety Sense. This is with the cameras and sensors that give assistance to the driver to make their driving experience a little more safer, whether it's automatic braking, automatic high beam, radar cruise control, lane departure, blind spot monitor. That's on the Toyota side. Lexus has the same technologies, whether it's just an alert in the steering wheel, or it gives you some vibration or some feedback to pull you back in the lane. And if you look at the right-hand picture, I just want to point out, look at the left front fender, that little yellow square. We're actually putting, imagine a blind spot monitor in the rear quarter panel up in the front fender area. And the intention of that device is when you come to an intersection, that sensor is now looking down the laneway of the other road coming, and it's alerting the driver if there's a car coming, maybe it's going to blow through a red light, or something coming that's going to alert the driver that, hey, don't go through the intersection just yet. So with all that technology on those cars, we got to scan and calibrate all kinds of cameras and sensors and stuff that need to be adjusted or put back to its standard. So what I did, and this is an older document, about a year old, I went in and I said to the system, what do I need to calibrate on a 2019 Toyota RAV4? This is our current generation RAV. I don't know if you can see it on screen, but it printed off 24 pages of potential documents, items that need to be calibrated or scanned or initialized. Now, 24 is a little bit overstated because it printed out for the hybrid model, which is similar. So let's divide it in half. There's 12 pages of documents of things that may need to be calibrated. And it's tough to see on the screen there because the print's kind of small, but I'll read it off to you. So on the initialization side, it says, procedures necessary when the cable is disconnected and reconnected, so this is the negative, the battery terminal. So we may need to perform steering sensor 0-point calibration, memorize steering angle neutral point, reset the back door closed position, or power back door initialization. That's just simply taking the negative terminal off and putting it back on, right? So I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but just to give you the idea of, to echo Mike Anderson's comment, research to learn, or learn to research and research to learn. Some other precautions. This is in our rear bumper. We do allow, repairs of rear bumper depending on where the damage is. If the damaged area is in the view of the blind spot monitor, we're looking at a new bumper, replace the bumper, right? But if there's some damage that is out of the field of view of that particular sensor, there is a repair that's allowed. We just got to keep the repair material away from that sensor. We also have to be mindful of the thickness of the paint and the primer that goes on there too. Toyota has some specifics there, and you can see on screen there. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, just more that to be alert of this kind of stuff. Some other technologies in our cars. This one's kind of unique. It's on two of our models, the Lexus LS and LC. It's called the pop-up hood. The hood is made of aluminum, and if you look at the front of the car, right below the Lexus logo, there's a little wire or sensor in there. What it does is it detects if there's a pedestrian that's been hit, and the intention is the hood pops. You can see the schematic there, and the spirit of that design is that if the pedestrian is falling into the hood will cushion the blow a little bit and less the chance of injury to that person. So this is what it looks like when they've deployed. I found these online, and those parts, there's 5 of them involved in the process to make the hood pop, and they're all single-use parts. So you need to keep that in mind when writing the estimate or doing a repair plan on this particular car. Switching gears a little bit again, Gary talked a little bit about this. Toyota and Lexus, we have the connected cars technology. Toyota, we call it Intune. Lexus, we call it Inform. And it's basically where you can pair your electronic device, your phone, communicate through the car to the external world via satellite to receive notifications, all kinds of technology, back and forth, Apple CarPlay. But also our cars come equipped with Safety Connect. And Gary showed the video there, when your airbags deploy, someone will call into the car, hey, are you okay? Do you need ambulance, fire? What do you need, right? So that communication happens with that person in the car if it's equipped with those technologies, right? But here's what's important. So if that technology, this is from a 2018 Camry, if the accident notification system is turned on or is activated, and that car comes to your shop, part of the repair procedures is you got to hook up a scan tool, the Toyota TechStream scan tool, go through a couple screens, and actually hang up the phone that's built into the car, because it's a cellular phone that makes that contact with the call center. And you have to replace the battery in that little device, and it's tucked up in a way, underneath the dashboard. So if you don't hang that phone up and you put the car all back together again, and that call is still engaged to the call center. So we have to hang up the phone with our TechStream scan tool. And it's just, you can't pull the negative terminal, you can't disconnect the battery. There's a process, keystrokes that you need to go through with our scan tool. Talking about our scan tool, if you're interested, anyone can purchase a subscription to our technical database, techinfotoyota.com. And on that website too, there's a hyperlink. You can purchase our TechStream scan tool. It's one of the requirements to become a certified shop that you have our scan tool and a subscription to our technical database, because we want you to pull the OE repair procedures. So if you do get that site, or if you do get the tool, my good friend Mike Anderson a couple of years back did a couple of really good webinars on how to use Toyota TIS. That's what we call it, TIS. So if you go to his website, collisionadvice.com, scroll to the very bottom, he's got a bunch of videos there, not only Toyota, but he's done it for FCA, Nissan, and some other OEs. If you want to learn how to use some of those systems, it's well worth the watch. And Mike did a really, really good job with that webinar. So here's probably the best slide that I'm going to share today. And I think our friends at SGI will like this, and the repairers in the house will like this as well too, and online. So Toyota introduced a bulletin early this year in March, and I'll read to you what it says on the left-hand side. Cut and join locations. Minor damage to welded outer panels may not require replacement of an entire phosphorized steel service part as published in the cut and join locations. Partial replacement of the component may minimize intrusion and provide a more streamlined repair. This includes non-structural panels that have full procedures listed in the adjoining repair manual. So what does this mean? And the other point I want to make is we prefer a butt weld. And I got an image that will help describe what this is. So if you remember this image here, that was from the RAV4, the piece that's circled. This is the part that they're talking about. That's the phosphorized steel that they're talking about. And in the past, if you bought a service replacement part, it would probably come up along the windshield A-pillar and down along just the leading edge or the starting part of the rocker. And you do your cut, so you got to drill out all those welds, probably pull the windshield, and maybe pull the dash. And that's a pretty heavy duty repair. However, though, if you've got a small minor dent, let's say in the lower part of that front part, where the door hinges are below the windshield, you can make your cut there, do a butt weld, and weld in that little piece versus that whole, taking that component out. One thing that's not mentioned in the bulletin here is if you do decide to do that, make your cuts about 50 millimeters away from any kind of hole, just so you can get a good weld in there. And I must stress, I can't stress this enough, if the steel that is in behind that component, call it the D-ring, like you see in the image there from when they're building the car, if the steel that is in behind that is at all damaged, now we got to go back to the old way of doing the proper sectioning and follow the repair procedures as outlined in TIS, where you do the cut and join and weld those on. So Tom, later I'll be happy to email this actual bulletin to you, and you can share with the members. Happy to do so.
Great.
Another website. How are we doing on time here? Yeah, I'll be done in like 2 minutes here. A good site to learn a little bit about Toyota, and it's a free site, and some of you may be on it already. This is Toyota USA's training site where technicians can go in, register for a particular course and attend in person. They're starting to work on, I think, virtual stuff now. But the purpose of, I'm showing you this, so it's crrtraining.com, and you go to a section that's highlighted there with the blue box, Tech Info and News. And in there, there's just a wealth of information that our technical trainers will publish on this particular site on whether it's repair tips or did you know, or here's some inside repair procedures that, that might be good to know. And another good document in there is something called Collision Pros. Collision Pros is a quarterly document that Toyota produces that talks about whether it's new technology, new procedures, new process, new paint, whatever it may be, they'll put it in there. Again, keep in mind it's from the United States, so some of the stuff they may talk about may not be applicable or available in Canada. But I encourage you to check it out. It's free. You can download the stuff, share it with technicians or whoever you want to. So what's in the future for Toyota and Lexus? It's an expansion or enhancement of our safety systems that we talked about. Most of our cars now, I would say probably 90% of our cars have this technology on them. But we're on version 2.0, and next will be 2.1 and 2.2, and it's just evolving, as technology improves. We're also going to expand, the connected services where the customer can connect with his or her phone, whatever that technology is or whatever the device they're using. And with that is the expansion of Safety Connect, so the collision notification. The remote connect is where the customer can connect his or her phone, start the engine, shut the engine off, turn the air conditioning on, close the window, find out where it was last. What's important, if that vehicle is equipped with that and you're monkeying around the car and you start disconnecting things, that customer will probably get an alert on his phone that something's going on. So we need to be sure that we deactivate that system while we're working on the car. So. And lastly, I showed earlier that one slide where we had a bunch of hybrids on the Lexus and the Toyota side. The blue car that you see is a next generation Mirai, which is a fuel cell car. And we're already selling some of those cars in the province of British Columbia. The technology for fuel cells, not really coast to coast in Canada yet, but they're working on it to have these fueling stations. The beauty is the byproduct from a fuel cell car is just water. So it takes hydrogen, runs it through an inverter, creates electricity, and that powers the car. If you look at the big transport truck, Toyota is partnered in Long Beach. This is Long Beach, USA in California, where they've got a couple of trucks that are using the actual fuel cell system. They're using 2 fuel cell systems out of the Mirai, shoved it into Kenworth to haul freight around the Long Beach area. And they've got an actual hydrogen filling station in Long Beach. So it's working really well. So, you need a lot of power and torque to pull some, a 53-foot transport truck loaded with freight. So they're obviously demonstrating the potential of this. And, the expansion of our hybrids and our plug-in hybrids, like I mentioned with the Prius Prime and the RAV4 Prime.
Wow.
So that's it for me. That's my presentation. Hopefully I kept on time. Went through it kind of quick. If we got time for questions, Tom, I'll be happy to answer some questions right now, or maybe if someone's too shy to put their hand up, if they want to send me an email, I'd be happy to respond to an email or whatever that may be. Whatever works for you, it's good for me.
Well, that's awesome, Paul. Anybody on the floor has any questions, or any of our participants, you can go to the participant icon and raise your hand. Paul, I just wanted to mention that we got a group of guys here that they send out a tech newsletter every week, and last week they sent us out the Collision Pros magazine articles, which was all about Toyota parts and service. And I assume that must be some kind of a regular article that Toyota produces, but I was just totally blown away on how much technical information that Toyota makes available at no cost to the industry.
Correct, yeah. So what I encourage you to do is if you go to that website and you find the Collision Pros, you can actually sign up for instead of going looking for it, it will come to you. You can sign up and register with Toyota with your email address or whatever, however you want to get it. And when it's published, you'll get an email saying, hey, the new version of Collision Pros are ready. Click here and it will bring you to that document.
Is that the ToyotaPartsAndService.com website, or does it say Collision Pros?
So it's the Toyota Parts and Service website that you just mentioned, Tom.
Yep.
You can also get it. You can also get it too from the site that I showed, the crrtraining.com.
Yep.
You can link from there as well too.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I was absolutely blown away by the information that was available, and just a terrific resource for anybody that's doing Toyota repairs. So, Paul, appreciate your help. I know you've been really engaged with CCIF and the rest of the industry, and you're an advocate for collision repair. Thank you for being one of the leaders in the collision industry and moving things forward for us. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Again, I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of your conference, and hopefully next year I'll be able to join you in the beautiful province of Saskatchewan and hang out with you guys. So
that would be terrific. Thank you so much, Paul. You
Great.
take care and
Thank
have a
you.
good day.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bye-bye.